From chasing a fast 10k on the road to hunting down a marathon PB, Mizuno has you covered with the Wave Rebellion Pro. Built for speed, made to last the distance. Available tomorrow at mizuno.com.au and selected running specialty retailers.
That your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 272 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Thanks to Mizuno for sponsoring another week. Big show coming at you. All the action from the World Cross Country Trials up at Canberra yesterday. Croaks was on the ground, so looking forward to talking about all things that. 3 people being picked. We'll talk about who might potentially be filling that team. Got some results out of Sydney to talk about. Valencia 10k, bit of drama there. Houston half and full marathon. It's a loaded episode for the third week of 2023. Welcome to my co-host Bradley Croker up in Canberra. Welcome, Croaks.
Thanks, Brady. Good to be here.
Really looking forward to talking to you tonight. Like me and Moose just watching this stuff on the stream yesterday, but having a man on the ground, I know you had a lot of human interactions, which you don't usually do that much, and he was just sharing stories all afternoon yesterday about different people he spoke to, so hopefully we can get a few of them on air tonight.
Yeah, I said to you boys that I reached my annual quota of personal interaction, so I'll be living at home for the next 6 months, not leaving home.
That's good. Things are good in Canberra. Moose, yep. What do you got?
Oh, yeah, perhaps your annual name drop limit as well.
Oh, yeah.
On Saturday Arvo or Sunday Arvo.
Very good mates with people. I didn't think he was very good mates
Very good friends with some of the best runners in the country.
Yeah.
Actually.
Taking a leaf out of Christian's book.
Carrying bags around, you reckon?
Christian loves it, doesn't he, on Strava? Hey, everyone, look who I ran with.
Anyway, mate.
I didn't go and get photos with them, though.
There's nothing wrong with getting photos.
Just spoke to them.
We'll talk about that later, because I want to bring up the photo thing, because I think that'd be the first time a lot of those people were posing for photos. It looked like there was a lot of fans there, which is good for our sport. My other co-host, though, the 214 man, is a line up for a marathon, I reckon, in about 5 weeks, maybe. Julian Spence, welcome to you.
Thanks. Coming up quick. Don't need any reminders of that.
5? Is it 5 yesterday or 6?
I think it's still 6
okay.
From yesterday, but first 30k plus. I've done a 30k, but I went over this Sunday, and I'm feeling it.
Oh yeah, had a few beers this afternoon too, you were telling me, so if things get a bit loose this afternoon, that's why.
Well, Mondays are off and the sun came out, so we had a little wander down the beach and had a swim, got caught in a rip, but powered out of it because I'm just a waterman.
You're pretty good in the water. Anyway.
Yeah, there's been a few rescues down here this season.
What, you been rescuing people?
No, not me, but we got this relatively new ring road that sort of takes people from Melbourne all the way around Geelong, and then I think Anglesea must be like the first beach on the Google Maps if someone types in the beach or something. And so we get all these Melbourne crew that probably never been in the ocean before, just rock straight up like 6-foot waves, a lot of water moving, super dangerous. And they just have no idea. And like some of them just go in their clothes, you know, whether it's their religion or whatever, but they just go in their clothes and all of a sudden they're at the bottom of the ocean in a minute. It's pretty dangerous stuff.
Yeah, it would be. Keeps the lifesavers busy.
See it all the time.
They have lifesavers all the time on that beach, like Bondi Rescue?
No, not all the time, but just in the summer months. So there's paid lifeguards and there's also volunteers from the surf club. But the problem is they patrol between the flags, and a lot of the a lot of those that don't understand the beach or aren't aware of like the safety things, like that you have to swim between the flags, and they just go out wherever they want, and they get into trouble. And there's a lot of drownings actually. They're always people that are not from town, like that are from Melbourne, or it used to be the internationals when we had a lot of international tourists who'd come straight at the Tullamarine down the coast, boof, out in a rip, gone.
It's often Moose, the person that's doing the rescuing is the one that dies. They go out to save the kid, and the kid ends up surviving, and then the person that's going to save them is the one that drowns.
Mate, it's so
You mean
sad
like an
too.
adult, like not an actual lifeguard though, like a family member? Yeah.
So you see their families watching from the beach, like the dad go out to save them, and you're right, it's always the dad that gets, or not just the dad, but say like one of the older people there that end up getting drowning.
What happened down the south coast a couple of weeks ago, down near Bateman's Bay. Guy went out, I think, to save his son, and he didn't survive, but the kid did.
Yeah, God, that's fucked, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know the mums on the beach watching this, horrid.
Let's get on to some positives, eh?
Yeah, get on to some positives. I was going to start the show with a few corrections for last week, Moose. Turns out you did get lapped in that 10K. Let us know straight after.
I did, actually, yep, got lapped. I was messaging through the show, and then people got back to me afterwards. Gunther said, yes, lapped, 300 metres to go.
Well, we worked it out based on the times, Moose.
You still didn't believe us, though.
I still can't remember getting lapped by anybody.
Okay.
I just can't remember it. And Toby said he went past me at 200 to go, or maybe 300 to go, and he thought, he's going to go with me. He's just going to outkick me here. But I gave nothing back, so that's a bit embarrassing.
That's it. Nangs, we got speaking about drugs last week as well. Not good for truckies, supposedly. That was in my DMs.
Yeah, that was you.
Yeah, but they black out or something. And Norwegians do use a different keyboard, thanks to like the 350 people that sent in photos.
Got that one right?
No, that was me. I should have taken the slab. I said they did have different keyboards over there.
Oh, I saw the keyboard, but it was just like, it's like the same letter.
Yeah, it was a bit conflicting. So like Christian's like, no, we don't do it at all. But then a lot of people sent in like keyboards where they had different different letters on there.
Keyboards, same keyboard.
Yeah, but they got
Christian.
Yeah, but he's very high IQ. Might talk about him like later on for Valencia. Anyway, let's recap some weeks. Croaks, you want to go first? I want to know what's going on with this scan. I asked you during the week and you just didn't even answer me. Keeping your cards close to your chest.
Yeah, so I actually had a scan today. So I had a pretty good week, really. I got out for a total of 53k, which the week before was 45, and that 53k was in 5 runs. Monday was 45 minutes, 4:17s, and Tuesday was 35 minutes at 4:18s. Both of these were in the afternoon. It was like super hot, and come Tuesday afternoon, I'm like, because I started off and I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good, and then I'd get to about like 25 minutes in, I'm like, oh yeah, the heat's definitely catching up with me, and based on obviously my fitness levels. So then got out on Wednesday morning, and look, during those 2 runs, like my legs felt pretty good. Same thing on Wednesday morning. I increased it a little bit, went for an hour, 4:23s. It was nice running at 8:30 in the morning when it was a bit cooler than what it had been the previous 2 days, because I think it was like in the 30s when I was running in the afternoons. Thursday, 45 minutes at 4:18s. Still feeling pretty good. And then Friday was 45 minutes at 4:26s. So then come Saturday, sort of in the mornings, I was like really just noticing a little bit of pain, nothing serious. And I'd run 6 days in a row. So I'm like, I'll take Saturday off. Started actually taking some Voltaren tablets, which I haven't had throughout this injury. I've had like some ibuprofen at times, but the Voltaren has made a massive difference in terms of how I feel when I get out of bed in the mornings. So didn't run Saturday, didn't run Sunday, mainly because by the time I left Stromlo, it was pretty warm. And then I thought, I'll just take another day off. So, 53k for the week, feeling pretty good. Like given I've run a total of 200 kilometers in 9 weeks, and 100 of those were in the last 2. I actually feel like I'm moving okay. And I feel like I'm pretty much at the end of whatever's going on with my leg. Because, woke up this morning, no pain at all, which, 2 days off plus the Voltaren, and ran for an hour this morning, felt fine. And I did go and get a scan this afternoon, and I actually didn't expect to have the report already, but it's come back. And so there's no bone abnormality at all. Says that there's some minimal edema in the soleus medially, and it says here in the medial soleus at its medial extreme, which I'm guessing is like really, really low, which is where the pain I've been getting. So it seems like it maybe was muscle related. But
so the original physio was right.
I guess so, but he was more, I guess, the muscles that he thought it was, so it was he thought it was more sort of tib post muscle, but it was obviously, medial and sort of distal soleus. Yeah, so the main reason I got the scan was because I thought, look, if it comes back and there's no bone, I'm happy to ramp things up a little bit, given how good it's starting to feel. I thought maybe it'll come back with some like tendony stuff, but then, it's just come back with the edema, which is almost identical to the report that I got when I hurt my calf in Melbourne that time at the half marathon. But the scan didn't say like there's a muscle tear, but I guess edema is probably associated with the strain at some point. Look, I'm just going to keep jogging because it doesn't seem to be getting any worse. I'll just keep up the anti-inflams just to try and maybe get rid of some of that edema. And hopefully I can just slowly build. Like 50K a week's not bad. Like, hopefully this week I can increase it to maybe 60 or 70. And then once I feel like there's like no pain or no awareness, then I'll basically start doing some light sessions.
Do you you're just good enough to read that report yourself? Like, you know what it means?
It's pretty. I Google a couple of words, but But the main thing is
that back to a physio and they say, hey, this is what we recommend.
Yeah. Well, so I've sent it through to both my physios actually. So like the report says like the tibia appears normal, the fibula appears normal. I think there's a small varicose vein in my tib ant muscle belly, and then at the end there's no further muscular abnormality seen. So so I think it's a pretty good scan. Really shows that there's not a lot going on. I probably just need to be a little bit just cautious getting back into the faster stuff because it seems to be handling jogging, but you know what it's like when you've had like calf stuff. As soon as you, get up on your toes a bit more, it's going to put a lot more force through that. So I just need to be a bit cautious.
Yeah, no rush.
But I think I'm over the worst of it. Like if I look back at this time last year, actually today was the first day after COVID that I jumped on the treadmill and did 5 lots of 4-minute run, 1-minute walk, and I was like so unfit. Like my heart rate was hitting 160 in those 4 minutes. I feel like I'm a lot fitter now than I was this time last year. So, and I didn't do my first session last year until early to mid Feb. So I think I'm going to be ahead of that.
So with the comparison to 2022, have you kind of looked at maybe that was Sydney 10 the first time you raced last year?
Yeah, Sydney 10 was the first race that I. Yeah. So that's ages away. It's over 10 weeks or it's about 12 weeks or more. The one thing I learnt from last year though was I don't think I was race hardened for Sydney 10. So if I want to do Sydney 10 this year, I definitely need to do something hard a couple of weeks before.
Go smack a park run.
Yeah, something like that.
Then you can tick your 5K and 10K goals. Remember those from the start of the year?
Yep.
That's good. In the right
but
direction.
It's so good to just be back running. And I think so many people underestimate how fit you can get just off actually jogging. You know, everyone thinks, if I'm not doing sessions, I'm not really training properly. But I have no doubt if I was to run like 100K a week, just jogging at a decent pace, I'd be pretty fit. The sessions are obviously like the icing on the cake.
Well, yeah, they get you to a point, that jogging, and then it's hard to break through to the next point without the intensity stuff. Yeah.
But given I've pretty much had 9 weeks off, like jogging for 3 or 4 weeks, like I'm going to continually gain fitness over that 4-week period of jogging.
Yes. Yeah. If you, I think you would if your mileage got bigger than 50.
Yeah.
Because you were coming from a pretty high point. If you crank it 50, 70, 90, I think you get fitter.
Yeah.
But if you do 3 weeks at 50, I don't think you get fitter.
No, and that's the
Not
hope
you.
now, is that I increase 15K a week or so from here.
Yeah, you just missed that hard and stuff though.
Yeah,
That's what the session gives you.
But if I'm not racing till May, then I've got plenty of time for that, and I'm looking forward to getting back with the group. So like, we meet on a Tuesdays, and I'm from this week going to start sort of meeting Friday mornings as well. So it'll be nice to get out and run with those guys.
We're doing doubles.
Is that
the
the group?
Feet?
Yeah, Diagony.
No, Mulligan's
Fridays.
Track Club. Yeah.
Oh, MFTC.
So just the people that I coach. Yeah.
Rightio, Moose. Coming off 34K last. No, you did 34K this Sunday.
Just 24 last week.
That was after your 10K race. Yeah, I've got the wrong week open here on Strava. Tell us about your week.
Well, I was pretty beat up actually. On Monday, I got all the DOMs come at once basically. So I had the long run DOMs as well as the race DOMs hit me. So I just ran 7K real easy on Monday afternoon. So I gave myself 36 hours after the long run. So it didn't help much. It was probably like peak DOMs. Felt like shit. Had a bit of knee pain. Probably I looked at that run as active recovery, not as a run to improve my fitness. And so I was there at probably mid-afternoon on Monday, and I considered not running at all. I thought, I don't need to run, I'm pretty sore. But in my head, or the way I justified running was that it would actually improve my recovery time if I went out for a jog. How do you boys feel about that?
Yeah, move the blood. And it almost makes the next day better. That's why you're doing it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I actually have that mentality on every Monday. It's just I don't care what pace it is. Slower is better than quicker. It's really just the purpose of that day is to actively recover, not chase building fitness.
Moose, did you find that when you went, you originally said, I don't want to go for a run at all, but then did you find the first part crap, but then towards the end started to feel actually better?
It was kind of like a bell curve. It was shit at the start. I had a really good few K, and then I started to get sore again. And then I'm like, all right, we're cutting this. Because I kind of thought I'll go out for 45 minutes, but when I got to the furthest point away from the house, I'm like, nah, you just head back now. Whatever time it takes to get back, you just head back. So I still woke up pretty sore the next day and pretty tired as well. So I wasn't I wanted to go about 12K, 14K, but I just didn't have it in me. So I was still sore in the quads. That was probably the main spot I was sore. Just felt like I'd done a hard race, which I had done. So I only went 9K. So it was going to be less week, which I was fine with because coming off a race, that's what I expected. I ended up doing a workout a day earlier than I was planning. I felt good. So that Tuesday night, that was kind of like a turnaround point for me. By the time I got home from work, the DOMs had gone and I was starting to feel a little better. So I said to Ali, I'm like, I'll come do your workout with you tomorrow because there was only a taper workout for her race on Sunday. So I knew it wasn't going to be that hard. And these workouts are within my capacity at the moment because I'm probably a little bit fitter than Ellie is. So it was 3 by 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, and there was 1 minute jog between each interval. So the idea was that the shorter the rep, the faster the pace. Normally this workout goes around threshold for the 3 minutes, 10K pace for the 2 minute, maybe 5K pace for the 1 minute, or sometimes quicker than that.
It's one of my favourite sessions, Moose. We often do it 3, 2, 1, 1 minute between the reps, but after the 1 minute rep, we have 90 seconds. and we sort of work more on 10K pace for the 3 minute, 5K pace for the 2, and 3K pace for the 1. But you get a little bit more recovery, and it's not so much jog; it's more just standing recovery.
It's a body hard workout. Like when you do it at that intensity.
Well, it is if you jog. If it's just reps where you're standing around, it's like I find it's a good tune-up session because you sort of just get to work through the gears a little bit.
Yeah, it is. Doing it for it goes for 26 minutes here. But if you were to do that same thing on the track, what you just said at that intensity, so 3 minutes at 10K.
Yeah.
So imagine going through
K.
So do a
K in 3 minutes. Yep.
And then having a minute jog or a minute walk, whatever. That's still pretty quick. And then doing 2 minutes at 5K pace. So what's that? 2:16s, 2:18s?
600. Yeah, it'd be 600 or so. 600 meters.
Yeah, that's
or just over 600 meters. Yeah.
If it was an 800, yeah. And then 1 minute at equivalent of 67, 68, 400.
I know.
You're
not
going
jogging.
Yeah,
you're not jogging as well. Standing around's different, and then the 90. I find the 90 seconds is sort of gets you back on track. Plus, then if you've gone from a hard 1 minute at 3K pace, going then back to 3 minutes at 10K pace actually feels pretty comfortable after you've run that 1 minute a bit quicker.
Are you saying like on the day 10K pace, or like what you want to average on race day 10K pace?
Moose's session.
Yeah.
There was no pace. There was no paces given.
Oh, but when you do it, Croaks.
10K effort.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's a great workout because you can do it so many different ways.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This one here, I don't want the jog to be pushed at all, and that's where, like, if I'm not around, I find that a lot of my athletes, and especially Ali, she pushes the jogs too hard, and you lose the quality from the repeat, and that's not what I wanted for this. I didn't want this like a really strong aerobic workout. I wanted to work through the gears properly, and if anything, sharpen up a little where the 1 minute at the end is getting a bit quicker, and with, like, you could have put 90 seconds at the end of that, it would have achieved the goal as well.
Hey, Moose, do you reckon that's a bit of an error amongst a lot of distance runners, is that there's this, I don't know, idea that if you're standing around, like, it's bad? Whereas, you want the volume of the session to be bigger and you don't want to stop because you're not getting as fit, whereas there's a time and a place to actually have standing recovery. So as you said, you can, like, move well during the rep.
Definitely. Yes, I see it all the time. With, like, it's even though I'll be the fittest in the group, which not all the time, but a lot of the time, I'll be doing workouts with people that are a bit slower than me. As soon as the rep finishes, I go into like a shuffle, and they're pushing, and it's like every single time I'm reminding them, hey, slow down, like, get your heart rate right down. This isn't the purpose of it. I've started, instead of saying jog when I prescribe sessions, I say shuffle now.
Yeah, I've been doing that too. And then I put in brackets to get the heart rate down. Like, that's the purpose of that 1 minute.
Yeah. It's not a float.
Yeah.
I often say rest/walk.
Yeah, okay.
You can do that too. If you get them to walk, it can be better.
Sometimes I do like to shuffle jog instead of walking, just so I don't fully, just so I can get rolling again on the next rep.
Yeah.
Like the other day, Archie and I were doing something, and he was going to walk, and then he's seeing me still shuffling around, and he was kind of thinking, oh, do you want me to keep jogging? And I'm just like, no, I'm just doing this because I'm old, and it takes me a while to get back going if I fully stop.
Yeah, standing completely still is not great when you're running fast because all that lactic sort of pulls a little bit. So it's more like you stop the rep initially, like you might walk for 10, 15 seconds, even 20 seconds, walk a bit, and then go into like a slow shuffle.
Into the rep, yeah, that's another good way as well. I think we did a good job of explaining that. After you brought that up last week, Moose, remember? Like explaining the purpose of workouts and stuff.
Yeah, and how to get the most out of your workout as well.
Doesn't look as sexy on Strava, but it's going to help you achieve the benefit of the workout.
Yeah, and exactly. Like, I'd rather, some workouts, you want the float, you want it to be a float. Like, you don't want to stop.
Yeah. But then that's where you're right float, though, and you probably set a pace for it.
Yeah, and you give the license to go a bit quicker through that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had a pair of Vaporflies on, which I've never really worn the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. I got a pair when they first dropped, and I wore them for one workout. Decided I didn't like them, so I put one of them on the wall actually. So I only ever had one pair. Like I only ever had the right pair, the right shoe, and so I got another pair, and I actually really enjoyed them for this workout. So maybe I'm coming around.
Firmer than the number ones?
No, they still felt pretty soft to me.
I've noticed the firmness is just like it's a great shoe, and I've got a pair of the ones and the twos, but I always go for the ones now because I just feel it's a bit softer, a bit spongier.
That's strange because I felt these, if anything, were a little too soft.
Okay, I think
I'm with you, Brady.
Doesn't Tommy DeCano have that theory that they come out of like the ones that come out of Vietnam are softer than the ones that come out of China?
He doesn't know though. It's a theory.
I found Next Percent 2 is a lot harder compared to the first version and also even the 4%.
But does that make them better though?
Yeah,
like
I know it makes them better.
Yeah.
I think it makes them better for shorter reps, definitely.
I raced in the one throughout the last year and ran my 10k and half marathon PB in them when I had the option to wear the two. But I was like, that's probably a bit of placebo as well though.
Was that on the track?
No, that was on the road, Launceston and Gold Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Can you still buy the ones, Moose?
No.
They occasionally pop up? No, they not at all?
No, they've been going for a while now.
Should have stocked up when they were selling them.
The 3s are coming out soon.
4% Fly Knit, brand new. Are they worth much anymore?
Kirk's has like been hanging on to these shoes for years, waiting for the
Have they increased in value?
Yeah, Bree got a pair out the other day, actually. Got her pair out and went for a jog. She said they felt like a normal jogging shoe now.
Keep them in the box.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So that was the workout. Oh, I haven't even told you the splits. My watch... so my watch recorded super different from Ali's watch. I had taken the inside line the whole way. So the paces I got, 3:18, 3:19, 3:04, 3:15, 14, 18, 19, 11, 2:55. And that wasn't right because we were running much harder, I could tell, on the 2 minute and 1 minute, much faster. Ali's watch is much more accurate in terms of polarizing the efforts between the reps. So I sent this off to our IT man in Bendigo, Darren Rowe, Brady.
Yep, Tully's dad.
Yep, Tully and Max. Don't forget Max.
Sorry. I was just thinking Tully raced on the weekend in Canberra.
Yeah, there's 2 children though.
There is.
That's mean of you to forget
Max,
about Max.
Junior Bat.
And so he came back. He said, "You're running on the inside. It's an extra." Let me just get into it because this is quite good intel, I reckon.
Well, it's a very industrial estate kind of loop, which I think the Coros is fine on. But are there trees that go over it? Because I've had some issues where I do some workouts where the trees are, which I think every GPS watch would. And Ali's also wearing a Coros too, for context.
2 Coros watches. Yep.
Same model?
No.
Hers is the Apex.
Hers is Apex, mine's Apex Pro. I think all the GPS are the same.
Okay.
We had the same settings on and everything. We checked afterwards. So I sent it to Darren. I said, Darren, can you do a bit of a deep dive on this? So he pulled up the maps and he looked at it and he said, both runs are pretty tight and repeatable. Ali has run further, but it's hard to pin down exactly because she hides around 250 metres for privacy reasons, whereas I don't have any issues with privacy. I think maybe only a few metres. I don't know what I've got. But roughly speaking, you run around 8 metres further per 400 metres on the track. So in lane 2 versus lane 1. You guys did around 7,200 metres this morning, which is 18 by around 8 metres extra for Ali. 144 metres. She's run around 2% further than you for the same elapsed time, which would theoretically be roughly 3:33 pace, not far off her listed Strava. Her Strava listed 3:31. So he follows up saying, "You'd be surprised how much further she's actually run. Your red data is slightly better grouped, but in my opinion, Ali running on the outside of the loop plays the bigger role." So we took this away. Actually, it's very, and this is something you wouldn't consider when you're running with somebody in a workout. And this is a big loop, like pretty big loop. I'm not sure, maybe
2K.
1.2K, yeah. So
A bit
she's
further.
she's running an extra 145 meters for the workout. Now that's a lot, and so perhaps in the future, like for me, given that I'm the comfortable one in this workout, I should probably take the outside going forward.
There's about 17 turns in there, though, isn't there?
Yeah, but in
a
a
lot.
race, just think about being in a race, whether
Yeah.
it's cross country or whatever. How important is it to take the sharpest line? Because
Run
if
your
you're
tangents.
if you're getting screwed all the time on the outside, and you're running an extra 150 meters, and we're talking a race that's decided with 10 seconds, you're hurting yourself right there. Like you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball every time. So it was actually a good insight from Darren. Thanks for that, and also good learning experience for both of us.
I want to know more about that relationship. So you just got questions, you just send him files on a random Tuesday and he just gets back to you.
Well, the
Like,
last
"Mate, I'm
time
trying to work, don't annoy me with this stuff."
the last time I chatted to him was the 6th of May 2021 when I think we were in Noosa and we were having problems, and so with the GPS, and he's done a full-on deep dive up there, and he was brilliant at it, like brilliant. And
Did you send him a case of beer?
yeah, he needs some beer or some socks or something. I'll get on to Darren with that. Maybe Ali can send him that. She's the sponsored one. So yeah, that was a good little workout. And then, so the next day I felt pretty good off that workout. I still even more recovered from the weekend. So I did a hilly little loop, just under an hour, 4:30s. A bit slower the next day, same distance, 12K. And then did a workout on Saturday morning because I had Saturday off. So it was threshold 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just continuous run. So it was 30 minutes in total. The idea was that I had a ceiling for my heart rate where I could progress the paces, or progress the effort, sorry. So the first 15, I wasn't letting it get over 165. And then the next 10, I had a little bit more freedom. I could go to 170, and then the last 5, I could open the stride up a little bit and work at the finish. So, funnily enough, the paces between the 165 and the 170 were actually really similar. It was only 3:29s, and then I only dropped down 2 seconds a K to 3:27s, but I picked up the heart rate by 10 beats a minute average. And then the last 5, got a bit of downhill. Maybe the heart rate was over 175 at points as well. Well, it definitely was. It went up to 177. And then I got to 3:17s. So it's a good work. This was supposed to be just a medium workout because I had 34K the next day. And it was sort of hot, and it wasn't that hot. It was 18 degrees, but it was humid. And I knew that there was a chance if I gave myself a pace-based workout, I would cook myself here. So I gave myself something pretty achievable, and I finished, and it felt fine. Like I finished feeling easy, just sweating a lot. And it allowed me to do 34K the next day. So we watched the World Cross Trials. A few of us watched it at my house just before we left, and then got out a bit later, so 8:35. But it was really cool down here. It was like sort of not summer at all. So it was 16 degrees and 75%. So it was pretty gentle. We did a hilly loop. No, it was pretty hilly. So 510 meters for my 34K. The group got rolling up a few hills. And then I was on my own at 28K. So I thought, let's push into the finish a little bit. So my last few K were picking it up sort of croaker style, and finished at 34K average. What was my average? Like 4:18s. Felt it the rest of the day super stiff and sore. Haven't done that distance in a long time, coupled with the hills. That was, pretty tough.
Off the back of a Saturday workout as well. Got that in your legs?
The workout was pretty meat. The workout was not taxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still more taxing than a jog the day before. Not hitting
It
as
is.
fresh, yeah.
I did not feel the workout in the Sunday run. I don't feel like I did.
Okay. Good signs then.
So 103k Moose. Where's your prediction now for 6 weeks' time? Still around that 224?
224, I think would be a good run. I think that's what I'm aiming at. It's hard to know when you're not doing the specific workouts. So I'm doing some track. I'll do a track workout tomorrow, and I'll do like a threshold later in the week with Ali. And that's not giving me an indication of my real marathon fitness. These long runs are pretty tough for me. Like I'm finishing them, I'm not finishing them very strong. I might finish them fast, but I'm not finishing them feeling strong, which scares me a little. It's going to be a bit of an unknown on the race day.
Will you chuck the Rebellion Pro on for a big road workout soon, Moose?
I've worn it a lot.
Okay.
More
so on the track though?
Yeah, but I've also done a lot of threshies in it. I just haven't done any road workouts at all.
Okay.
So that's probably another little worry. Is
something to harden the legs a bit.
Yeah, not used to the asphalt. I might head to the asphalt a little bit if I've got a workout where Ali goes to New Zealand, so I'm not going to be training with her really before World Cross. So I might do those Fridays a little bit more focused on me, where I'll go to the asphalt and do maybe some tempo running.
Good. Heading in the right direction as well. Everything's ticking along. Whistle through this week, eh? Kicked it off Monday, 60 minutes at 4:36s. All this was in pretty hot weather. I think we were about 35 to 40 every day last week, so got some good heat gains, but the paces on the jogs were pretty slow. On the Tuesday, met up with Archie. We did a 2x14 minutes at threshold, averaged 3:17s off 2-minute jog. Probably, I don't know, as we're talking about jogs, how slow this was. It was pretty slow, this jog, whatever it was, for 2 minutes to try to get the heart rate down. Pretty much just like 14 minutes out, 14 minutes back. He dropped me in the second one, and I just had to check the ego and remember that it was threshold, not like a 14-minute time trial back to the car. So I was probably solo for the last 7 or 8 minutes, but that felt good to get a longer workout in. Often on Tuesdays we kind of do broken threshold work. Got a couple of different varieties we kind of run through, so it's pretty much 30 or anywhere between 25 and 30 minutes worth of threshold work. Sometimes with breaks, sometimes, like tomorrow for example, I got 6 by mile, which would be around about 5 minutes. This was a longer one where we kind of went for 14 minutes and just had the little reps. So good mentally that you only had to do 2 efforts, but then bad mentally because you had 14 minutes before you got a little bit of a break. But it felt good all up. That was kind of like 9k at 3:22s. Cooled down, and then I'm still singling every day. Did 80 minutes with Aaron, a listener. He was in town holidaying, hit me up and said, do you want to go for a jog? So took him for a bit of a tour of Moama. Averaged 4:17s, which I was surprised about because didn't have any pace showing, and we're kind of talking the whole way. And I thought we're kind of going a bit slower than that. So a bit of a surprise when I got back to the car and saved the run and saw that it was 4:17s. Thursday, 65 minutes at 4:43s. Friday, second workout of the week was 10 by 2 minutes at about 3:04 average off a minute shuffle jog. This would have been like 6-minute Ks, I reckon. Pretty much just shuffling around on the spot, getting the heart rate down. Trying to work it. I'd love to say this is like 10k on the day race effort, but I think that's probably a bit generous. So it was probably in between 5 and 10k kind of pace for me at the moment. Did feel good though, and I do love this stage of the program when you're coming back and you can see the progress. Like 2 weeks ago I did 8 by 2 minute at, I think it was 3:08 average. So same kind of effort, 2 extra reps this time around, and going a bit quicker. So I was happy with that workout. Saturday, easy jog in the heat, 70 minutes at 4:40. And then Sunday, I got up. It was really hot overnight. Like it was a low of 24. So I knew whatever time I was going to run, it was going to be pretty warm. And I just wanted to avoid the full sun and get home in time to watch the cross trial. So I went out I started at 4:53, did 2 hours, 4:22 pace. Still hot. Didn't even wear a singlet out the driveway, just shorts, put on some old school like best of 90s, best of 2000 hits, and just ran along listening to music at 5 a.m. in the morning for 2 hours. Bit of a struggle the last 15 minutes in the heat when the sun finally did come up, but glad to tick it over because it would have been shocking trying to do that at 8, 9 a.m. once the races were finished. So a good week, 118k for the week. Starting to rebuild the fitness well. I think I'm 6 weeks post Valencia now, so a couple more weeks. I wanted to ask you boys actually a question about when do you reintroduce doubles? What's your opinion on this? Or when should someone who thinks they want to do doubles actually, because I often get this as a question, like people or a coach might say, hey, what's your thoughts on me doubling? When do you do it?
I've got a general rule is that you want to be doing it at least an hour a day before you introduce a double. That's about my rule.
Yeah. So you look at it more of a daily load, not a like overall mileage?
Nah, more like daily.
Yep. Croaks, you got anything you go by?
I reckon like for you, because when you first started back after having that time off where like everything's a bit of a grind.
Yeah.
I think when you get to the end of the week and your sessions have been like pretty good, you're feeling good in them, but you're also just not banged up from the mileage that you've run for that week. I reckon that's probably a good sign that you can handle a little bit more.
Yeah, okay. I reckon I'm nearly there. The second part of that question, I was talking to Ash Hoffman about this on Strava. When is it...
Ash Hoffman?
Yeah, because we're...
a big fan of Ercana, Murray Bartlett, actually.
Is he, Ash Hoffman?
Yeah.
I might have to send him a message after this show then. I'm also a big fan of her.
Love your interview.
When is it too hot to double? That like so like it gets hot here at, say, the hottest part of the day would be that 4 to 6 p.m. Like, do you get any value going out for your second run if it's 38, 42 degrees? Or you're just better off staying at home and just recovering because your morning run and your next morning run's going to probably be pretty hot too. You're already getting the heat gains. You deplete your body too much.
It depends, I think, how you can keep your heart rate under control. Like, if you can run slow enough to keep it like to a decent level, then I think it's okay. Like, I know when I was like marathon fit, like I was going out in some pretty hot weather in the afternoon, but I also think that the fitter you are, the better you can handle that stuff. So for you at the moment, like if you're going to introduce doubles and it is super, super hot, there's probably not a lot of value because you're probably just not quite strong and fit enough yet. Whereas if you're like, 3/4 of the way through a marathon block, or you've strung together some really, really good consistency, you're fit and strong, you can probably just handle it a bit better.
Yeah, I'm better off putting my 60 minutes to 70 minutes in the morning, stuff like that.
Yeah, when you introduce doubles, the double has to be a seriously low stress run. And if you introduce heat like that, that becomes a stressful run. And after a long period doing doubles, you can have stressful double runs and you can get benefit and handle it fine, but not when you're just starting to introduce them.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, if there are any listeners out there wanting to introduce doubles, do it where you don't have weather stress.
Yeah, the treadmill's a great place to get a second double in because you can control your heart rate so well. You're not going up any hills. It's flat. That's the other thing. Some people, like, they go out on a double and they're running hilly, and that's another stress you want to avoid if you're just introducing them. So I think the treadie's a great place to add doubles.
Yeah, and if you've got a good air conditioner.
Yeah, or a good fan. Just keep the heat down. Monitor your heart rate, like Croak said, and just remember that this is like this is the whatever zone it is in the heart rate, just the low zone, base building type aerobic fitness.
Yep, good one. Thanks to Patreon supporters, hey. Who you got, Croaks? Kick us off.
I got Joe Lippett. Got some interesting stats for Joe this week. He lives in Perth but was originally from the UK. He's run 18:18 at the Joondalup Park Run, June last year, and also 2:53 at last year's Perth Marathon, which put him 17th place. I believe he's a senior talent acquisition specialist of strategy and transactions at EY.
What is that?
Jeez, that is a good title, isn't it? Senior Talent Acquisition Specialist Strategy.
Is that someone who hires people? They hire people, or they headhunt people, maybe.
Don't know, but it sounds good.
What's EY?
Ernst Young.
Oh yeah,
it's like
they're lawyers, aren't they?
Finance. I thought it was finance.
Yeah,
EY.
you could be right. I'm guessing.
He's also a gun golfer. He was an assistant golf professional back in the day and was the 2018 Burleigh Park Club champion. And on a sadder note, in 2021, his dad passed away, but he ran a half marathon and raised close to £5,000 for a facility that helps people with terminal illness. So, what a legend Joe is. Thanks for your support, Joe.
Yeah, good stats
job,
there,
Joe.
Croaks. Good research. Big Four accounting firm, Ernest Young.
What does Big Four mean?
There's that, PricewaterhouseCooper, Deloitte, and KPMG.
Yeah.
KPMG. Yeah.
They're all on above my head as well.
Another smart Patreon supporter.
Trend continues, Croaks. Trend continues. Who you got, Moose?
I have Caroline McDonald. So Caroline's from Cavendish in Victoria. Regular at the Hamilton Park Run, which goes around the lake down there. Has an estimated best 5K of 1903 from the 2020 Mother's Day Classic. Is that in Ballarat, Croaks? That Mother's Day Classic?
Not sure which one.
Yeah, don't know. Ran hour 43 at the 2022 Burnley half. That's good. And 3:53 at the 2022 Gold Coast half. So, yeah, probably can snip a bit off that, I reckon.
I would have been there that day. Would have seen Caroline. Burnley, 2022.
Yeah, and the Gold Coast in 2022. You were there for both her
I
runs.
was looking after the kids.
She did the marathon. Yeah, marathon on the Gold Coast.
In the hotel room. Actually, no, I was on the course for a while.
You were there. Yeah, you were out there.
Yeah, I saw you on the sideline.
About 15k or something, wasn't it, Croaks?
Yeah.
Gave you a wave. I'm going to thank Christopher Toro from Ipswich in Queensland. He's ran 16:46 at the Sandgate Park Run, June 2022. That's the fast one, isn't it, Brad? Sandgate?
Yeah, it is.
So they all run quick. 37:39 at the 2022 Australian Masters 10,000 metre Championships. And he's ran 80:37 at the Gold Coast Half Marathon 2022. She's had a lot of success in 2022 because his PB 3:24 for the marathon, also Melbourne Marathon 2022. So what a he's going to murder that marathon when he puts should be going quicker than that, shouldn't he?
100%. Yeah, he'll smash.
Yeah. It's pretty quick. Do you reckon he'll be in the Masters race at World Cross Country?
Maybe.
Is it like if you go into the 2022 Australian Masters 10,000 metre track race, you think he'd be at Bathurst? We'll see. Say good day if you're there, Christopher. I think he's the owner of Toro Electrical, and he's also a dad. Got a good amount of ink on him, both arms and back covered in ink. That's a tremendous amount, not just a good amount. Both arms and back.
Did you have a look? Brady?
No, I haven't had a look. Probably should do that. Have a little gaze of it while you guys are talking about these results next.
Thought you'd be impressed with his ink.
Yeah.
He's got to spend that electrician's money somehow.
Has he got it on his electrical website, Croaks? Because I'm on that website now. He wouldn't have a selfie out there, would he?
I got it off Strava.
Jeez, have a look at the van he's driving as well. It's pretty clean. Anyway.
A lot of money they make.
He's got 2 kids. Yeah, it'd be a good industry to work in, wouldn't it? Work hard for their money though, Moose.
Oh, not really, mate.
They can keep the world going, don't they, electricians?
No, they don't. It's all easy. They just do. They make a mess. They come in, make a mess. Just drive the best cars into the work site.
I was on the phone to a plumber today at our place trying to get some taps fixed, dealing with some tradies.
Don't cancel your Patreon subscription, Christopher. That's just Moose saying electricians don't work.
He knows how much money he's got. Do you know how much those tattoos would have cost?
He's an electrical engineer too. Does that matter?
I'm sure that's even better for him.
He's making some cash. This is if it's the same Instagram. Anyway, let's move on. This is my favourite part of the show. This is the show part that goes off the rails every week. Just start jumping down rabbit holes, but let's talk about some running. Taking inspiration from Mizuno's record-breaking sprint bike from 1991, the Wave Rebellion Pro delivers a propulsive feel with cushioning to last the distance. Featuring a unique midsole geometry that feels as different as it looks, the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro is here to give you a point of difference on race day. Combining a carbon-infused waved plate with the maximal Mizuno Energy Light Plus midsole, the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro is here for your next PB. Created to maximise performance where you need it, the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro offers over 50mm of cushioning under the midfoot, designed for ultimate propulsion, all while meeting the World Athletics regulations. In 2023, race faster with Mizuno. World Cross Country Trials happened yesterday in Canberra. Men went first. Jack Rayner got the win. Matthew Ramsden went off the front. Bold move. Pulled it off, though, because he did come second in the end. Bit of a surprise, though, to see him go that hard from the gun. The boys kind of let him go, the whole pack. Then Liam Adams broke from the pack to try to pull him in. Didn't quite get to him. Brett and Jack then left the pack. Pulled in. Jack then left Brett to pull in Matthew Ramsden. But Brett was in third. So Jack ran 29.26. This is for 10K. Ramsden 29.29. Thought he fought on pretty well when Jack caught him. Brett Robinson third, 29.37. Rorey Hunter come in fourth, 29.40. Andy Buchanan, 29.43. Jackson Sharpe, back from the United States, whereas at college over there, ran 29.45. That was the top six. Top three are on the team. We wait to hear from the selection panel now about who else fills that team. Boys, what did you think? Well done, Moose. You picked Matthew Ramsden. I think a lot of people sleep on him because he lives over in WA and we don't see him that often, but he's pretty good at cross. He's got a good record when you look it up. I think he was 38 at World Cross Country last time. Second Australian behind Brett. So good pick there. I'll give you that one. What do you think?
Yeah, well, he's got a pretty nifty 5K behind him as well. Like 13 mid-teens or something, I reckon.
Has he ran a Zatopek?
He might have paced it one year.
Yeah.
But no, like like when you look at his 5K, of course he should be up there. And you'd imagine that at this point of the season that he'd be doing a lot of the longer stuff. So a lot of the distance work. And you know the MTC guys, they train strength-based athletes. So like longer volume workouts like K reps and then thresholds all the time. They kind of train like cross-country runners a lot. They do a lot of hilly tempos, Saturday hill workouts, and always a long run Sunday. You'd think that a guy like that would be primed for cross-country, so that's what we hope for. He did well. I thought he went out hard. Like I was not expecting that either, but a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
not short of the confidence.
Because bit of the footage there at one stage when he went through one of the laps, he looked like, I reckon he still had 2 laps to go, and he looked like he was cooked. The race was over, kind of thing. 10 guys were going to catch him, but he fought on really well, pretty bravely, I thought. Croaks, what do you think on the ground there? Were people a bit shocked seeing that move get made so early?
Yeah, like I was amazed because I guess beforehand you think, like, how's it going to play out? Are there going to be any team tactics given that like Jack, Matt and Brett all part of MTC? So I thought potentially, I thought Jack and Brett were, always going to finish in the top 3. And I thought maybe they would just keep the pace pretty easy so that Matt could, rely on his kick in that last lap. So to see him go off the front, I certainly didn't expect that. But there's obviously no team tactics involved because I think Brett and Jack were even chatting to each other after the first lap going, what's Rambo doing? But then you could see Jack just go, all right, I'm just going to slowly wind him in now. The thing I love about cross-country trials is it's one race where you're not actually probably as interested in who wins. It's more about, all right, who's in 4th, 5th, 6th here because, yes, it's top 3 automatic, but if you finish 4th, 5th and 6th, you're a pretty good chance of being selected. And that's where that battle was because at one point Liam was still there, but then it was like Rory, Andy and Jackson Sharpe were pretty close to each other. And at one point, especially in the last lap, like Jackson was making up ground on Rory and Andy. But I think Rory just backed his kick at the end. So he sort of just sat on Andy knowing that, if he finished 4th, he was probably going to be on the team. So he was able just to kick away over the last couple of 100 metres from Andy.
That was good. Yeah. That was a surprising run for me. I didn't have him. I think I picked half the field last week and he wasn't one of them. That was my surprise packet of the men's race, Rorey Hunter. And it goes again, you bring up, because 10K cross is hard, maybe because the course wasn't that difficult at Canberra. But you're talking about guys making the team. Like Rory would have never ran a Zatopek 10K on the track. Has he ever run a 10K on the track?
He's run low 29s at I think the Sydney Harbour 10.
Okay.
But you got to remember, he's coached by Dick, so they do a lot of volume. Rory has won a national medal in the 5K. So he's a quality guy, 3:36 1500 metre runner. So on paper in terms of how talented he is, he should be there.
Yeah. That top 6 is just made up of, you got Jack, Brett and Andy, the marathoners, half marathoners, 10K, 5K, and then you got the other guys like the Jackson, the Rorey, the Ramsden, who can drop down to 1500s and run pretty quick, but then probably haven't run a lot of, or none, half marathons, or Zadapex between them.
Yeah.
Bit of a mixed bag. Any other things you want to comment in that men's field before we go to the women's?
No, we're going to talk about selection and discretion stuff at the end, or now for each event.
We'll go with men's first. So you think there's going to be anyone come into that team, or the top six are safe?
Look, I've heard various rumours that there's both Kai and Pat who have asked for exemption. Pat's probably the only one that I would put in here instead of, say, Jackson, because I feel like Kai... So Jackson and Kai raced each other at the NCAA cross, when was it, like a few months ago? There was only 9 seconds between them in that race, and maybe like 7 places. I think Kai finished 9th and Jackson finished 16th. So 9 seconds over a 10K cross country is not a lot. And I think the fact that Jackson stayed in the country to do the trial, whereas Kai decided to go back for college reasons, I believe, I think there's enough reason there to basically just go, you know what, we're going to pick the top 6. Pat's a little bit different in that I think he's having visa issues, so that's the reason why he couldn't come and run the trial even though he wanted to. So if Pat was available, it'd be hard to leave Pat off this team. Yeah, so
I'm just
former national record holder.
Yeah, and he's won an NCAA cross. Like, he's good at cross.
Well, can we just address, and so this got me thinking a little, and I don't know what shape Jackson Sharpe in, but we had 5 people in front of him, and he's finished 15th at NCAA cross country. Like, we always talk up NCAA cross as like a magical sort of race, but perhaps it's not the kind of race that we think it is. Perhaps, like, you've got Andy Buchanan, who races AV cross country every week, finishing, well, he's finished 2 seconds in front of the 16th place. So, I don't think it should get as much weight as perhaps we've discussed in terms of this discretionary selections.
I'm just trying to open up now to read through the policy about what the actual...
Yeah, it's good to have the points in front of you.
Points in front of you, because it's stuff like previous representation of Australia. Like, so you look at Kai and you go, well, he was there at the ballot, the world champs in the 10K. That's going to help him against Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson, yeah. I'm just trying to actually find it. Sorry, I should have had it ready. Maybe you guys talk about. So you think Jackson and Andy are the 2 potentially in trouble?
Well, yeah, it would be. But then I feel sorry for any of those guys that miss out because, Jackson's only finished 5 seconds behind Rorey, who was in 4th. So, like, there's not a lot between them. And, I think at some point you need to be rewarded for turning up to the trial. And that's, I think, the problem with having 3 discretionary spots. Like, I understand, like, you need to have at least 1 spot there. Because let's say Jack flies to Canberra, gets food poisoning the night before and can't race. It's like you're mad not to put him in the team. But having 3 spots, it just allows people to just sit back and potentially just rely on what they've done in the past. And that's where I like how Brett, nobody expects Brett to be in top shape now after the marathon. But he still rocked up, and he said that he actually just wanted to, earn his spot on merit and, be at the trial, even though he's not in top shape at the moment. So I'd like to see more of that.
Huge kudos for that.
Yeah, I've got that in my notes here. Like, I'm talking about me being 6 weeks. I raced the marathon the same day as him. He went and broke the Australian record. He actually had a good run and actually something to talk about. For him to come back and do that, I thought it was gutsy. We spoke about it on the Road to Valencia show. Like, he could easily have said, I just want the discretion.
Well, everything to lose. Everything to lose.
Yeah.
Nothing to gain, really.
Yeah. And he chose to go, no, I want to earn my spot. And in a way, take it out of the selector's hands. Like, put yourself on the team. I've just put the discretion at the bottom of the document there, boys. So you can see there's probably 5 or 6 dot points, with the second one being performance of the trial. So that does hold weight if people actually did rock up and race. History of past performances in a World Cross Country Championship. And any other relevant international events, including track events, performance at Australian Cross Country Championships. What else is in here? And World Cross Country Championships.
But the thing, there's so many factors here, Brady.
Yeah.
There's about 10 different points, and they said they may consider any factor or combination of factors. It's like if you rank them from like what's most important to least important, it might help.
Potential to finish top 24, so that's where you look at a guy like Pat Tiernan coming into the team, like he could.
Like I understand, like Pat not being able to run the trial. Like I get that. Like if he's having issues with visas, like that's different to a guy that's in the country, on Christmas, but then goes back for college obligations as opposed to staying for the trial. Whereas Jackson stays for the trial. So I'd hate to be a selector in this instance.
And only one of the points is performances at the trial. So this doesn't mean that Rorey Hunter ensures his spot above Andy Buchanan, because you look here and go performances at the Australian Cross Country Championships. Like all of a sudden,
as a selector though, you've got to be brave to bump out. You'd have to be brave to knock out Rory and leave Andy in or Jackson in. When it almost. What's the point of a trial then?
But that's why. Yeah. But being top 3 and being 3 to or 4th to 6th is different, though, isn't it?
Anyone not top 3
is in the same category. Is that what you're saying, Bruce? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
it would have been crazy though, Chris, because Andy's like that's the thing about not having it at Bathurst that I was frustrated with, because at least then it would have been another argument point that Rory could say, look, I beat Andy at Bathurst. I've done it on the course we're going to race. But I think because the course is so much easier at Stromlo than Bathurst, they could then argue that we know this guy's good on crap courses. Look at him at the Australian Cross Country Championships, like first and second, on tough courses.
Yeah, but what you're using now is some sort of it's not a real factor.
But it's just written here, though. Past performances of Australian cross country. Oh, you mean about course difficulty?
Yeah. That's not in the criteria.
Yeah, it is here. Oh, no, that just says for the relay potential to run faster.
And none of these guys have run that.
The World Cross Country Championships.
None of these guys have run that course. So we don't know how they're going to individually react to the course. But, I think there would be a lot more controversy if you left the guy that finished 4th and sent the guys that finished 5th and 6th at the trial. That's not a good look at all.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to be a selector. But
no.
Hopefully, well, you don't want to say hopefully, because you want kind of Pat there. It's weird. You want to send the strongest team, and you're looking at, it's hard to do.
I would I wouldn't put Kai in this team. I'd put potentially Payne, but yeah, I think Kai, if World Cross was a priority, he should have stayed for the trial.
He was here in the country too.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably should have, nailed his spot on the team. This next one might be a bit more straightforward. Well, we'll talk about it. Rose Davies got the win. She looks strong. Looked like the old Rose, 33-33. Leanne Pompeani, 33-41. Caitlin Adams, 33-46. Izzy Batt-Doyle, 33-47. It was close there. Holly Campbell, run of the day in the ladies' race. The surprising run of the day for me, 33-49. Ellie Pashley returns to elite racing, 33-55. Good race, big pack, different than the men's race. And then Rose, she just went to the front and just, she looked like she was surging the uphill, surging the downhill, surging the flat, just trying to get rid of people. And she did, and she held it, and it was a good result. Fresh off altitude. I think she's been up at Falls Creek since Zatopek, so comes down and does that. Thoughts, boys?
She proved a point, didn't she? In my mind, that was dominant performance. And I think she's probably just, wanted to get her crown back, maybe, as the top distance runner in the country. But perhaps after the Zatopek race where she was beaten. And it just looked like that she was, it looked like that she was out for blood, that she had a point to prove. And every time she went forward, she did it with authority. I thought it was a brilliant race.
Krugs, what was it like on the ground? Look as good as it did on the stream?
Yeah, I thought she held on really well because, in the last lap, I thought, Rose is probably better at the slightly shorter stuff, and we know how strong Leanne is. So I thought there was a chance that Leanne might run over the top late. But then all the other girls, it there was always this constant gap between Rose and Leanne, and then Leanne and Caitlin, and Caitlin and Izzy. So that sort of first four were almost sort of clear in a way, but then over the closing stages, there was a battle between like Holly Campbell, Ellie, and Amelia Mazzadowney. Like they were sort of fighting for that 5th and 6th spot. And as you said, Brady,
Hanson was there too, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a little bit further off the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Holly was a standout run. Like, so she's coached by Jeremy Roth, and she's had like so many years of injury. Like we mentioned her sister a lot on this podcast page, an Aussie rep. So, it's good to see Holly finally injury free and running well.
Twins Crocs?
Yes,
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an amazing performance. Like, I think in our private chat, we're like, hang on, like, this for real? Like, what are our PBs? I know they were talking about it in the stream. Like, a 5K PB is 16:54.
Yeah, but she hasn't been able to reach her potential just through years of injury.
Yeah, that was 2017 as well.
Yeah. So a bit like the men's, I was really intrigued in more of that sort of what was going to happen in 4th, 5th and 6th in this race.
Yeah. And they had like the motorbike or the buggy on the leaders, but every time they went to the drone shot, it's just like you're trying to squint. You're like, which body is that? I'm not sure what it was like for you, Moose, because Ali was in the thick of things there and trying to like identify it.
Yeah, well, she was 8th place with Georgia and Amelia in front of her going in the last lap. And the gap was like pretty solid still, but you just don't know. She's got a lot of strength to her. She's really tough as well, and I don't think she was as fit as some of those girls, but the maybe the mum strength got her there in the end. But yeah, she made a move. She passed, I think it was Amelia with about a K to go, I'm going to say, and we missed it on the footage, and then all of a sudden she did it with she made the move and she surged hard at the time, and so all of a sudden there was like a big gap. And we're all just like, everyone in the living room was like, "Whoa!" Like a bit of a cheer went up when we saw it. It was really cool. It was good vibes.
It also, one thing you wouldn't have been able to see on the video was that for the men's race, the conditions were pretty good. It was still relatively cool, but I reckon halfway to 3/4 of the way through the women's, it definitely started to heat up, and then that was becoming a factor, and obviously even more so for the junior races. It was hot by the time the juniors were racing.
Yeah. It looked like carnage at the finish line.
Yeah, she said it was pretty warm. Ali said it was like, maybe felt like about 22 or something.
Yeah, the direct sunlight was really intense.
Yeah, pretty cool course. Like I know it maybe, Brady, you've said it's easy a couple of times, but I think like one thing Ali said was it was a lot harder than she expected, and the pinches were a bit steeper than she thought, and it was a little bit more difficult than just like the like a beautiful carpet like you kind of looks like on the TV. But yeah,
service is perfect though, isn't it? Croaks? The hills get you, and the downhill I found when I raced there.
Yeah, the surface is amazing. Like you don't have to look down at your feet. Like you can be sure of your footing, but there are a couple of like really steep pinches, like that first hill that they climb up. So it climbs, but then they call it the pimple because it then like really kicks up and sort of does almost a 180 and comes back down. And so you've got that steep pinch on the way up, but then the way back down is really, really steep as well for the first like 50, 60 meters. And, a lot of people don't run on that sort of terrain either. And then, you pretty much got like probably close to a kilometre of like downhill before it flattens off and then you come back up that hill again. So it's challenging. Yes, the surface is amazing, but there's enough hills there that if you're not strong, you're going to be found out.
Yeah, and you can never get rhythm because there's a lot of turns in it as well.
Yeah, especially
talking about taking tangents, this would be one.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw that the last 300, they almost go through this like little chicane area, and it's flat through there, but you lose so much momentum, and then once you come out of that chicane, it's just like a bit of a false flat. So every time I've done sessions around there, you feel like you really lose a lot of momentum through that chicane, and then you've got to try and get going again. But from a spectator's point of view, the course is awesome because if you're sort of in the middle of the course, you can actually move around a little bit. And like I was able to see them 3 or 4 times in the 2.5K loop, which you can't often do at a lot of courses. So it's perfect for spectators.
Is this our 6? Let's have the same discretion chat here. Who potentially comes in? Sinead, Jess, Eloise, Lisa were the 4 names we spoke about last week who weren't there.
I don't think anyone's put their name up for discretion.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is the 6.
That's a 6. Name it
And
here.
that you know what? That,
Jess Stenson late scratching, though, sickness we've heard.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
But Moose, we do not know until it's officially announced.
That's right. And it's a very interesting situation if Jess puts her hand up and says, yeah, I'd like a spot, please. Can you consider me? Because that's when, that's when it gets real tricky. Because if we use those discretion criteria, it does not benefit a relatively new runner to the sport of cross country, or even just a new and upcoming runner.
So like a Holly Campbell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Through race, this is your one. You've stepped up to that level, but you don't have a history of doing it.
I'd be gutted to see that. Like if so obviously the things that Jess has got going for her is like her international record. I can't remember the last time she had a bad run in the green and gold. Not sure what her cross country history's like. Obviously winning Commonwealth Games gold medal in terms of just that achievement, but also then having the Commonwealth Games gold medalist running at Bathurst in terms of the height for the event.
It's not in the discretion though, Croaks. I know what you mean. They'll have bias about that, and it's great for the profile of the event to have her there. But yeah.
But well, likewise, I couldn't see if they got to bring somebody in, if they would have to replace Ellie. I just can't see how they can boot out Holly when she's beaten Ellie at the trial. Yes, I know Ellie's between now and February, she's going to be a hell of a lot fitter, so she's got a lot of upside to her. But I just reckon there's so much controversy if you scrap the person that finished 5th at the trial but leave the person that finished 6th. I don't like that.
This is just and I'm not saying it's good one way or the other, but it's only the top 3 who are automatic.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Forget the positions at the trial. That's only 1 point on the criteria. And all the other points point towards Jess or Ali in terms of that criteria. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying that if you go by the letter of the law, it is pretty harsh to someone who's maybe come 4th place but is a newcomer to the sport.
I'd hate to see it. I don't think that's good for the sport. But
I don't think the 3 discretion spots is good for the sport.
I agree. I think it should be 1.
I think that's the real problem here. It introduces these tough decisions, but these girls on the start line knew they were racing for the top 3, and that was the only automatics guaranteed to them. And so outside of the top 3, it's open slather.
We'll find out soon, I guess, who's selected.
I reckon by the time this goes out to the public, they probably named the team, and they just sat through listening to all this stuff.
Well, apparently the selection was today. Is that correct, Croaks?
I don't know.
I think it was.
So you're on the panel, Croaks. All the people you're hanging around up there.
Yeah. You've talked to the panel, though. Yeah. Had a good chat. Had a coffee with them on Sunday.
What about boys? My hot tip for the year, athlete to watch, Caitlin Adams. We're going to the moon on that stock return. People that backed her at the end of 2022 with me, massive, coming 3rd in that race, going to World Cross Country.
Did well.
She's on. I said that.
On her day, she's so good. She has some really, really good races, and then has some sort of ordinary ones. But it was a great run.
Yeah, it was a good run. They called it Jess Stenson for the first 20 minutes on the screen, though. That wasn't great from the commentary there.
No good.
But in saying that, the commentary, I thought the coverage and the commentary was exceptional. The production there, the drone footage, the cameras, I thought they did a really, really good job. Because remember in 2019, we had, was it you, just with a mobile phone on the side of the track, Croaks?
No, I actually haven't been to a World Cross trial before.
We had a listener, we had someone was like, I can do it for you. And because there was no stream, we just had a person there. I remember we got heaps of views because we were the only ones doing the dodgiest bit of coverage getting around. They pumped some money into that. So it was good to see. The 2K relay spots were also out for grabs, just automatic first across the line here. Stewie won that in 5:10. Callum Davies was second, 5:16. Jude Thomas third, 5:17. Abby Caldwell, 5:48, beat Jess Hull, 5:55. And Lyndon Hall third, 5:59. Stewie we kind of expected, boys, and now we expect that Ollie takes that second spot for that relay team. Abby Caldwell up against Jess Hull, though. Now it happened. You're not surprised, but she has to be the best tactician getting around. The way she did that, the way she did the Com Games, the way she did Nationals. She knows how to race, Abby Caldwell. She's a very good racer. Against quality opposition too, might I add, like Jess Hull. If you're a bookie, you wouldn't have had... what odds would have you had? Jess Hull, $1.20, $1.40? Yeah.
Well, we picked her, but now you're looking at the trifecta there, and you're thinking, shit, Abby Caldwell, a medalist in the Com Games. Why the hell weren't we talking her up more?
Yeah,
and we also haven't seen Abby since Com Games, so like you don't know that she's obviously just gone away and got herself super fit and strong for this event, whereas Jess Hull had a few issues at the back end of the season, and then I know that she's been in Australia for quite a while and got married and that so she's obviously training and fit, but I don't think Jess Hull's at her best at the moment. Like I was standing with maybe 350, 400 to go, and Jess was still in front at that point, but then when they went through that little chicane section, like Jess pretty much looked like she was gone, whereas Abby's still like full of running. And that 7 seconds? That 7 seconds was in like the last 250 meters.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So she came home so strong.
Yeah.
Well, when you know the auto sport is gone, it'd be hard to push for it because the
Yeah, but I think second's really important in this as well. But I guess she had enough gap on Lyndon because Lyndon's probably going to be the one to miss out here, which is pretty cool having Lyndon as a reserve in this 4x2 relay, if that's the way they go.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like that is so deep.
Croaks, you might know this answer, but why did they not just let these 2K races run and done before they start the next one? Like they're only going for 6 minutes, 5 minutes to like why not just let all the boys come in and then start the girls? Was it hard to watch both of them? I guess I'm asking on the ground.
No, it was okay because you'd see them go through and then you knew that like 2 minutes later the guys were going to come through. Okay. I think they were under a lot of time issues because the person from the ACT, this is what I was told anyway. So the booking was for actually this coming weekend for the cross country meet, and then AA said no, we need to have it the weekend before. But then the person who made the booking said, but it's booked out by triathlon that weekend, and they're like, no, that's the date we're going to have it. And so there was triathlon events there all weekend, and so these trials for cross country had to be done by like 9:10. So they're under these like time constraints. So that's probably why they had it really condensed, and that's why the women went off in the 10K before the men had finished and that sort of thing.
Yeah, they pulled off in the end though. Like no one ran out the back of anyone or any accidents. Yeah. Yep. I was just wondering, and you told me the answer. What about the juniors there, Croaks? Catch them?
Yeah. So I didn't really watch the races as intently as I did for the others, but both were runaway wins. Logan Janetsky won the men's under 20, 24-18. Archie Noakes was second, 24-44. And Jack Coomer was third in 25-21. And in the women's, Amy Bunnage, she won in 2022. Gabrielle Schmidt was second in 21-44. And Gabrielle Vincent was third in 22-01. So that was really quality running from those juniors in the heat. And I've actually got a lot of time for Logan. He's always a real friendly, bubbly sort of guy. So
so have I, to be honest. I met him at Launceston.
For a guy that young, like he's just got a lot of like character and personality about him. So got a lot of time for Logan.
Up there for the first time?
Oh no, I met him the first time down in Launceston.
That same time I was there last year.
Last year.
Different occasions. I didn't realise you'd met him.
Yeah, but then I saw him after the race. He's like, "Oh, g'day, Croaks," and like he's always real bubbly.
Yeah, it's good seeing that from young kids.
Yeah,
that's good. Some good results there. I'm sure that team will get named when the senior team get named for the other six. Illawarra Track Challenge, Croaks.
Yeah, so this doubled up as the New South Wales Mile Championship. So it was a little bit light on given the cross country, especially like some of the people would have run the two. So some people that would have run the mile here obviously ran the 2K or the 10K at the World Cross Trials the next day. Neve Allen won the women's in 450. Davina Smith second in 4:53, and Rosie Cooper third in 5:04. It was a super windy afternoon, so conditions weren't great. Luke Young won the men's in 4:16. Stefan Music second in 4:18.32, and Finlay McPhillips third in 4:18.68. So a close finish there for the minor medals. In the 3K, Harm Shat pretty much time trialled it for an 8:38. Your boy Brady, Sam Jones, second in 8:51, and Todd Peters 8:56. In the women's, an athlete that I coach, Bronwyn Hager, she won in 9:54. Jessica Khan second in 10:06, and Olivia Seville's was third in 10:29.
Real windy too. Did you say that?
It was, yeah.
I heard that. There's some, take some time off those all times then. Mm-hmm. Houston also a happy moose. Woke up to this news this morning. They always make a big deal about Houston Marathon over there in the States. Why is that? Because the half marathon?
Did we hear that it was gold label?
It's gold label, yeah.
Gold label, that's pretty good. Now, of course, I'll talk about that. And then there's not a lot of other racing around January, like in terms of marathons and stuff. I reckon it gets attention because it's kind of stands out.
They'd have a lot of gold label races though in the States, though, wouldn't they?
No, I don't know how many marathons they got as gold. I mean, obviously they got their the main ones, like the majors, and then you've probably got LA Marathon. Is that gold label now? Because you know how they shook up all the rating systems.
Yeah. And then they introduced platinum too, didn't they?
Yeah. So, I don't even know if LA would be.
I'm just trying to find a list while you're talking. Now we're talking about it, but yeah. Anyway.
Grandmas maybe might be not gold label, but anyway. There was a half marathon US record gone. So Emily Sisson, I think she broke her own, right? Broke her own record there to run 66:52. She was second. She was beaten by Hiwat Gebra Mariam in 66:28. That was probably the notable result there. In the Valencia 10K, there was a winner in the ladies, 29:19. 5 seconds off her own world record was, Yalamzurf Yahalu. She's absolutely smoked them. So second was Jessica Chalunga in 30:01, and then third was Esther Barura in 30:15. So that's a pretty Jesus. So she's run 29:19. Has she run any halves or fulls yet? This girl?
She won London.
Did she?
She also ran a really good half too, I reckon, like 63.
I reckon she has.
I think she finished third at the World Half Marathon Champs the last time they were on.
You know, I reckon she ran Valencia half when G'day broke the world record, and it kind of got a bit overlooked because she still ran like 63 something. But because G'day ran 62, no one was paying attention to the 63.
Keep an eye on it then.
Yeah. She fell at London, remember? She had a stack in her debut. She's only 23, it says here on her profile.
Yeah, wow.
63.51 at Valencia 2021.
Okay, so that's who we're going to...
2:17, Hamburg.
The two Ys. We'll call her the YY. YY, just so we remember, all right? Next time you see that pop up.
We've mentioned her a fair few times on the show. Like Eulaw, I think.
Just give that name always to Moose now, just so he remembers, Croaks.
We can just say YY. We know
YY.
now.
It's my girl now. I'll follow her. Weldon Lungut won the men's 26:55, beat Charles Lungut. Oh, long lost brothers, you reckon?
Not sure.
Daniel Cosen was third in 27:01. Big stack at the start. Geez, can we just put Christian? This is Christian's fault. This is.
It is not.
It is so. This is the problem. Like, if you get on, there's on what video is it? RunIX on Instagram. Go follow that account. Or not, you don't have to follow it, but they've got a video of it. This is what happens when people go to the front of start lines that don't belong there. You see what they get there. They're too slow. They leave the start line, and all of a sudden there's people running over them, and we need better self-seating. So you got Christian. Did you hear, boys, on road to on the catch-up show? Christian went and got himself an elite start at this race that he did last week or something.
Barcelona.
He's running
That was
16
Barcelona.
minutes, right? He ran 16 minutes or slower, 16:10 or something.
It's not watching out who you know, though, Moose. That's how
But
it
why
works in
the
this
fuck
world.
do you need to be on the elite start line when you're running 16:10 or something?
I think the race was only open to elite runners.
There's no other race on that day.
I think there was a 10K, but the 5K was just an elite one. Anyway, I know why you're angry at Christian, because he had a crack at you saying you're a bit soft now that you live down in the South Coast. I think you've come prepared for a bit of a rebuttal.
Did you see this?
He did have a good
bloke's
point. You haven't run that well
ruined
since you lived down there. I think you
He
need a
ruined
training
the
camp in
whole race.
Ballarat. He was in the video. He was in the video, but the stack had already happened.
It was his fault. He ruined the race, and now the whole world's angry at him because if a big doofus like that tripping up all the pro women, he doesn't need to be there. Go about 15 rows back, Chriso. Run 33 minutes from back there. You don't need to be on the very front.
It is always hairy though. Like when you're on, you're a couple of people deep, you got your hands out, ready for the gun. Like you don't want to get trampled. It would not be a fun experience.
No, it looked horrible. It actually looked fucking scary.
Yeah.
When they went down and the stampede, people didn't give a shit. People were just
Well, what are you going to do though? What can you do?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but you can show some sort of.
They almost
But if
needed to
you
have.
stop,
They
then
almost
you get
needed a
stamped.
second gun. They almost needed a second gun to say just stop, like a false start sort of thing.
I'm not sure you could stop him though.
Yeah,
Like,
because they're getting pushed
But
from
if you had a
the
second,
back
if
as
you had
well.
a second gun where everyone knew that a second gun meant false start, it would just stop that, and people can then just rather than be like run over the top of, everyone will just stop, and then those people can then stand back up, and then everyone just goes, because the elite guys would have only been 50 metres down the road. And I'm actually surprised this stuff doesn't happen more often, because when you think about it, how tight everybody's in at the start of a race, it doesn't take much to clip somebody's heel from behind and then them go down.
I remember it happened to Collis at World Half Marathon in Valencia.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He went down at the front of the
Jess
pack.
fell at Gold Coast last year.
In the
Jess
half,
Stenson?
yeah, she did too. Yeah,
Did she?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
yeah. Scary, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was scary. The people were like on the sideline, thought they were watching a mass tragedy event, just because there have been people stampeded or trampled in those
Music
what do you
concerts
call
and
it?
stuff.
Music festivals, exactly.
Big day out.
Yeah, where it just goes straight over the top in that Travis Scott concert.
Yeah.
It's almost something you'd expect to see, like running of the bulls, where everyone's like running and then someone trips over and everyone's just like, oh no, I've got to get out of here because the bulls are coming.
Every man for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other bit of news I had here, Jess Stenson announced for Boston Elite Field. We talked about this on Road to Valencia catch up as well. I thought it was a bit odd because I'm not sure, you guys might be able to tell me if this counts as qualifying times for Paris, which we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we were reflecting on 2022, like how important hitting fast marathon times may be, considering Sinead might already have one of those spots locked up, so there's only 2 to go for. You think she's going to do Boston over the hills and then hit a faster one in the second half of 2023? Cool to see, because we rarely see Australians at Boston.
I don't reckon the time would count, but being a world marathon major, if you finish top 10, it's the equivalent of running the time.
Yeah, but there's 16 girls who have broken 2:21.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a deep field.
You'd have to think she'd be
Just be
like,
good on the hills,
I was a bit surprised as well. I thought she'd be due for a flat, fast one, trying to, I guess, seal up a spot for the Olympics. But then I guess, when this is your career, like who knows how much money she's getting to do this, and while you're at your best, you probably want to run these major marathons, especially the ones that have so much history to them.
That's true. And we know she's good in the hills.
Yeah.
New York, Com Games, now Boston. Any comments there, Moose, before we move on?
Yeah, well, I wonder if, pulling out of the cross-country race and not nominating for World Cross, if Boston's playing a role in that.
Concentrate on that, yeah.
Don't know.
Wait and see. Also hearing whispers, this one is unconfirmed, that Lisa may be against Stuart Osaka, Moose, Lisa Waitman. Which is gold label.
yes.
Just saw that on the list. So another
Gold label,
head-to-head there.
Osaka.
Lisa
Top 10
Matt
for me.
You might have to go a bit quicker than 2:24, Moose.
To beat Lisa?
That's flat and fast.
Yeah, might have to jump back in the pack a bit to save myself that competition.
Go back to the influencer start one.
Yeah, take another level.
Bit of airtime, Moose.
Take off the Rebellion Pro. Put on.
I reckon
else.
there'll be. Yeah, just get me out of the camp. Get me out of competition. I'm there for a fun time. I'm there to celebrate Mizuno.
The last bit of news, boys, was that it was a bit of everywhere the last 24 hours. Strava increasing their prices, kind of. There's been a lot of, it might be news to people now, but just check your Strava subscription because supposedly it was very confusing. It depends on when you signed up to be a paying member of Strava. Depends on if your price will be increasing and also where you live. So it's not a bit of a blanket rule. So Carly and I had a look at ours yesterday. Mine is $80 a year and hers is $180 a year for the same product.
How is that? No, but what is where? There's got to be some reason.
Well,
you got the same address, right?
Yep, 100%. Because I think I've been paying for the last 3 or 4 years and she's just started paying recently.
So really? I think if you signed up after maybe November 2022, there will be no increase. Whereas if you signed up before that, there is an increase. It's really confusing. Those we might put it in the show notes. There's a video from that. Is it DC Rainmaker?
Yeah. Yep.
And he's confused by it. He contacted Strava to get some answers, and they pretty much just came back with nothing. So he was quite confused by it, and even after watching the video, I still couldn't understand it. But
what's yours at, Moose? If you go to your Strava now and go to my account,
$83. I checked it this morning or yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it on mobile. So even yours is 83, mine's 81 or 81.99. Yours 80.
Will this backfire though, boys? And people will then go, you know what? I'm just going to cancel this subscription and just you have the general one like I do.
Yeah.
Well, at $80, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
If I was charged $180, that's starting to find its way outside value for me.
I just don't use all the extra stuff. I use it as a social media more than like a training.
You know what I mean? I did my funniest work on there.
Yeah, you got cut down by us. I was looking through your comments before. Ali got you with an 80 likes to 10 likes or something.
No, everyone loves.
You do not do your best work. You just get kicked.
Everyone loves to get into me on there just because I'm the funny guy.
I'm surprised they don't just charge everybody, just to be on Strava, even if it's a little bit, you don't pay much to have just the basic rather than have it free.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't suck in new people. Maybe you get 3 months free trial when you start up, correct, something like that to suck you in and then go from there. Because if everyone cancels their subscription, they might just fold. It's not a profitable business. It doesn't make money.
But why not be a bit more open with it though?
Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
thing.
strange.
This is what's strange is there's no announcement saying, hey, this is what it's going to go to. This is why. This is when it's happening. It's all sort of just sneakily done behind the scenes.
Yeah, we'll put that video in the show notes. That explains it a whole lot better than us. But yeah, it'd be worth checking how much you're paying because we
will find out. We will find out as to how they are, whether they will survive, whether people are willing to pay very quickly. Because if the new fee goes to $180 a month, and that's the blanket fee for people signing up, then it'll be the market. The market will tell them. Is there a market or not?
Yeah. Well, before Strava, I had everything on Garmin Connect. And I used to go in and label all of my runs because what I liked about Garmin Connect was you could actually search for workouts. So, let's say, for example, I did 10 by a K. I would type in 10 by a K and it would just bring up every single time that I've done that session and I could look back and compare things.
You can do that now on Strava.
You can, you can do that now on Strava, but you couldn't for a long time.
Yeah, only just recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what things, because you don't get weather, do you, on yours?
No, but I don't care about the weather.
That's what I'm just trying to make the point about. I wonder if I went back to the unpaid one, if I ever noticed any difference.
Well, the only difference is you wouldn't have access to something to do with segments and things like that. You don't get to see past the top 10 for a segment or
just always be top 10 then. So that problem. Interesting. We'll see what happens there in the next couple of weeks. Listen to the question, Bradley.
All right. There's two here, both on sort of sub 3 hour marathons. First one, what sort of weekly mileage would you recommend to someone wanting to break 3 hours? And that's from Deck Tregear. And the other one is key sessions or tips to break 3 hours for the marathon. And that's from Blair Hurst.
First one depends on who you are. Croaks could break 3 hours off about 20k a week, I reckon. Someone newer to running, need a few more. It's very hard to put a basic number on it.
There is no number. The answer is there is no answer, unfortunately. But of course, take out the outliers. Take out the people that will never run 3 hours, no matter if you give them 250k a week for 4 years, and take out the people that you give 20k a week and they can do it. And then you start going, all right, well, what do we need? Like, we can kind of work it out a bit, can't we? We need at least a 30k run for once a week, maybe, or 25 to 30k, let's just say. I know there's outliers, but we're saying meet, the meet in the middle. All right, and then you're going to run at least 2 times during the week more, probably 3 times, with a minimum of 5k, a maximum of 15. All of a sudden, we're at around 60k, maybe more, maybe 70k. So I'm going to say, I'm not recommending this, but I'm going to say that the majority of people could not could do it, but will be around that amount.
Yeah. So in my, history of coaching people, and I'd like to think that most of them are sort of in that general public, not like the outliers, I reckon around 80k is a decent amount, as long as you're structuring your 80k like what Moose said, where 80k, you can't go out and just run 12k every day, and get close to 80k that way. That's not going to cut it. You do have to have a designated long run, probably a designated marathon specific session. I also think you can get away with so the faster you generally are over like a shorter distance, the less mileage you need, because your differential between what you're running for 5k versus marathon pace is so big that you don't need quite as much strength for that versus somebody who's a little bit closer, from what they want running 5k to what they want to run for the marathon. So the faster you are, the less mileage. But as a rule of thumb, I reckon 80 odd k,
that's good.
Is about right.
And you don't talk me like top end 100 meter speed, but 5k.
No, I'm talking,
Yeah, I like that. Makes sense. The key sessions, tips to break 3 hours for the marathon.
Yeah, we sort of touched on it a little bit. Like, you definitely need to be doing, and because actually one of my athletes first came to me. He ran 3:09 in Melbourne, and he wanted to break 3 hours. And I looked at his training, and his volume probably wasn't quite in that 70 to 80 range, but the long runs were just missing. And we changed that around, and he went 2:57 in Canberra, and he's now down to 2:39. And so it's like, you definitely need to have that long run. Like, that is the key.
So the long run is the only key session, but that improvement, let's say that was 20% adding a long run and 80% having a coach keeping consistent over those however many years that he got there.
Yeah, definitely. The consistency, is the key. And over that time, slowly increasing to the point that, they can handle 120 now. But back then it was, 70.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Blair probably is, and a lot of people I've done in the past as well, were searching for that super session answer, that this is the one session, if you can do it at this pace, then you're going to break 3 hours. Yeah. But the boring answer is consistently doing a lot of running.
The other thing I reckon here is too many people, yes, like we've said that the 30 plus K long run is the key, but it takes time to build up to that as well. Like, don't listen to this and go, all right, I need to start running 30K from like tomorrow. Or so many people leave their marathon builds like to the last minute. So if your goal's 3 hours and you're a fair way off that now, like, don't expect to do it in the next 12 weeks. Like, give yourself 6 months and build up to the point that you can actually run 2 hours most Sundays comfortably. Then it's easier to go from there to 2 hours 45 than if you're currently running 30 minutes as a long run.
Yeah, you got to be fit to get fit.
Yeah.
And that's a good segue. Just like I didn't have one planned, but the moose on the loose this week is people that copy shit. And it's so trendy right now in the marathon world to do the big specific workouts. And the 99% of people that I see on Strava doing them are not ready to handle that kind of like workout. And the kind of workouts I'm talking about are the ones that you see that are like 4x5K.
Yeah, it's always 4x5K.
Floods.
Yeah,
it is
That's
always that
one.
one. Well, there's also the long runs with kickdowns. There's
5K kickdown.
Yep, there's progression runs that go up to 40K. There are like 25 by 400. There's 15 by 1K.
3 by 10K.
Oh, shit.
3 by 10K.
Man, I even hear of people doing like 25K marathon tempos. Like, marathon pace 25K.
At 100% marathon pace, or goal marathon pace.
Zero fucking chance I could have done that in training before any of my marathons.
You could at 95 though. 95 is more common, isn't it, than 100?
95%.
Yeah, of marathon pace.
But again,
that's
too much.
That's for people like us.
I don't want that. I don't want and I think it's just we've just got caught up in it, and we forget the actual if we forget where the success is being found in marathoning in the country. And yes, I was quick to go away from it, and I did a lot of my training like we're talking about. But the more that I see programs and builds go wrong by following this, the more that I'm moving away from it again. Or I take certain sessions and I plug them in, but I don't go week in, week out, very specific long workouts. Because I've seen way too many people get 4 to 6 weeks out, absolutely primed to race, and fall off the cliff. And so I get a bit triggered when I see it on Strava now. These long workouts, and I see them from people that, like, instead of going and running an easy 30, which they haven't done in the last 8 weeks, they'll go run 25K easy and 5K like hard, like marathon pace at the end. Like, this is not the way to do it. You're not ready to run 30 if you haven't run 30 easy like 10 times before you even get to this point.
Yeah,
and you still want your
race in the training a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, which is like getting to that point, Brady. Like, you want, even during a marathon block, you still want like what you're doing to be somewhat sustainable. Yes, you're not going to do it all year round, but if you're just throwing like one massive session in, like, it's just going to cook you, and then you're trying to back up the next week. Like, it's not sustainable. So, yeah.
Good stuff tonight, fellas. What's coming up before now and next week? Anything special? Still on holidays, Bradley? We've only got 2 weeks left, haven't we?
Yeah, I know. It's gone pretty
goes
quick.
Quick, yeah.
November, I'm like, looking forward to school holidays. I have a lot of time to run and get really fit. Hasn't quite happened.
Scan done now.
Yeah. No, nothing really planned. Just, maybe a light session on Friday with the group if everything's going well between now and then.
Moose, what are you doing?
Back to work tomorrow. Track tomorrow morning, real early one, 6 a.m. That'll be fun. Nothing really.
I'm racing, boys, Saturday night. Keep an eye on Strava.
Oh, yeah. Where at?
Doing the Echuca Teams Triathlon, same as last year.
Give that a spell.
With Carly's doctor. That's the idea. I'm in the mixed team, 2 girls and a boy, up against the mixed teams of the 2 boys and a girl. So that's what I've got to try and hunt down. But see how I go. 5K through the port of Echuca. Smash a quick one. Wish me luck. Thanks.
Good luck, mate. Just
actually got an email from Valencia. Boys, I've got to start. They're welcoming me back. Just 2 minutes ago, yeah. They just said, yep, give you a bib again. Got a year to get over that trauma.
Hopefully you repay the confidence.
Yeah, there we go.
What did you send them?
When that Chicago option fell down, I was just like, which race can I go do? And I know, Moose, you had a contact at Berlin, didn't you?
Well, I haven't contacted them yet. There is a contact there.
I'd prefer to do Valencia for the 2nd time than Berlin for the 4th time. And then I was like, well, what are the options? So I thought I'll just flick an email to the same email address I did last year, saying I enjoyed my experience this year. My PB still hasn't changed. Same PB I emailed you with last year. But can you give me a start again? And they're like, yep, no worries. No accommodation or drinks, though, as per 2022. So we'll lock that in. Because you got to get sorted early. But Croaks, you should come with me. Boys trip to Valencia.
Yeah, we'll see. After hearing your travel nightmares and how far it is,
I'm going to do it different this year. You got to do it different. I reckon we stay in Doha a couple of nights. Get on the beers.
On the way home or on the way there?
Over.
You realise Doha is a dry country.
You can still get beers there, though, can't you?
Mate,
Just cost you a bit.
Like $20 for a Corona.
Yeah, Croaks is coming. You got heaps of cash.
Yeah. That's not a good place to go and have beers at.
Well, that's the only stopover location, isn't it? Dubai. We'll go there instead. Anyway, talking
Dubai,
shit
better chance. Yep.
All right, boys. See you next week.
Good week.
See ya. Bye. Built for speed, made to last the distance. In 2023, the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro wants to push you forward to the future. Available tomorrow at mizuno.com.au and selected running specialty retailers.